While we were just walking through Berlin, we were talking about an update we wanted to make. 3 years ago, I made several videos about Slack and Teams, the Slack competitor back then, from Microsoft, why group communication is so important, how it changes communication for companies.
One of the tools you've most likely heard about or already tried if you work in a young team is Slack. There is so much hype around this app, and they grew from 0 to 2.7 million users in just 2 years.
Who is leading the race? Is it the Goliath Microsoft or the David Slack? In general, I have to say I really like that situation because the war of messengers goes into one direction, future of work. That's because these messenger tools speed up communication, which is always a good thing. I have another video about that. And they make it much more transparent in terms of group and team communication. Overall, that's a very good situation. And I know I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to these topics, but overall, it's a good thing for the whole market because now we have competition that will accelerate the future of work experience for most of the clients. So I hope in the near future we see something happening like we see in China, where a lot of companies solely use WeChat for their internal communication, sending documents, sending video messages, sending voice messages, texting, pictures and so on, and have a lot of intensity in their communication. And Microsoft just announced that they have 13 million daily active users, which is 3 million more than Slack. Back then Slack had 3 million daily active users. Now 10 million daily active users. And I quickly want to put something into place about Slack, Microsoft Teams and Facebook WhatsApp. Although this is not a business tool at all, but the reality is that many people use it aside for business. So as Microsoft, as I said back then, made a smart move with Microsoft Teams, they now integrate more and more tools into the Teams world. We made a dedicated video about that, so look it up here. Slack is still important for the Google world, but as I said, the important thing is to understand how group communication changes the way we communicate. And this will become mainstream communication for businesses if the largest business provider, Microsoft, is putting that into place for their tools. You can be certain that this will definitely replace the email in a couple of years from now. But what we have to do is we have not to make the same mistake as we did with an email. Just copy-pasting the way we were working with a fax one-to-one into these tools. So what group communication helps us is to open up communication and make it more transparent in order to collaborate autonomously. And this is the key thing. We can fall back into direct chats and direct communication, and then we take away this chance to collaborate. And this is why I mentioned WhatsApp between these three tools. If you use WhatsApp in the company context, then you take away this transparency because intuitively we use WhatsApp as a one-to-one chat tool. Especially for assistants and PAs, I often get the question after a keynote what do I do? I now have the email account of my boss, I have his Teams account or her Teams account, and then also he or she's writing WhatsApp messages, but I can't read them. And this is where we have to change the way we use these tools. In WhatsApp, if you want something in the business context, you would always have to use a group. So even if it's just 3 of you, your boss, yourself and a business partner, you have to add it to a group in order to be involved. This should be the normal thing to do. The same is true for Teams and else. These tools have no value if you use them as one-to-one chat tools. Because by definition, WhatsApp is encrypted, so it's a one-on-one tool, it's not a business tool, but many people use it in the business context. So this is a very, very simple hack to solve it. Let's say you want to set a meeting date or something, or you talk about a project on a temporary timeline, then you have for that week where you want to find the date or whatever, this group, and afterwards you archive it or delete it or whatever. And yeah, I find it quite interesting if you look at the numbers. When it comes to Slack and Microsoft Teams, you see how steep that growth is. So this move, as I said back then, was very, very smart of Microsoft. We were asking Google back then why they didn't start with a tool like that, and their Google Meets and Google Hangout is not even close to what Teams is capable of. So I think that could be the next Outlook standard every day. But as I said, we have to change the way we use these tools and not just let the tool come and be used by the tool. You know what I mean by that. We shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. I think we should go now to our fishbowl panel discussion, but make sure you subscribe here on the way and watch another video here, and we keep you guys posted on what we do here.